Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, welcome to our first webinar. A lot has changed in Google over the years. A lot has changed with ads. A lot has changed with how to grow your fence and deck company using the best digital marketing practices. On this call today, we're going to be talking specifically about one part of this prosperity roadmap because there's a lot of pieces that you can put in place. Ideally, you have leads coming in from multiple sources. So if Google does something silly or something happens to your ads, you still have a way to stabilize that revenue for yourself as a fence and deck contractor. And the purpose of our business and the purpose of what we're hoping to share today is some things for you to be thinking about as a business owner in order to stabilize that revenue and bring those leads in consistently so you can continue to show year over year growth. You can continue to have stability for your crews and stability for your family, and no matter how crazy the world gets, no matter if it's an election year, no matter if it's a non-election year, no matter if we're in a recession or a not recession, you'll still be able to have and map out consistent revenue for your business and kind of project forward into the future. So the ideal scene for any business would be to be, I don't know if I'd say evenly invested, but have even amounts of attention on your website. So this would be creating a website and ranking it so uh, you get found naturally by people searching. This one would include your website itself and your Google Maps profile, your local service ads, which we do another webinar on, becoming Google guaranteed and investing in that program, retargeting customers, signing up for online directories, pay per click advertising, so paying for Facebook ads or Google ads or Nextdoor ads or Yelp ads or something else, investing in your social media, creating automations so that way you can take advantage of the latest technology and not have to continually hire more and more marketing experts to join your company. And then, of course, repeat and referral business, which will always be the highest close percentage revenue creator that a fence and deck contractor can have. Today, we're going to talk about one of the big ones. It's in this bucket of SEO and organic, but really it's with your Google Maps profile. There's a lot of reasons why that profile specifically is very significant, is very important, and can become a substantial percentage of the total number of calls you get on an average month. I have found it to be one of the greatest ROI opportunities for fence and deck contractors. And so that makes this next hour or so an extremely important time. So if this is important to you, if getting onto Google Maps is important to you, having yourself rank in more neighborhoods and have those calls coming in, for free with pretty minimal work, then this is a great webinar for you to attend. If you're already an expert, I may share a tip or two that's useful, or if you're having trouble with your Google Maps profile, we'll be covering that too during this webinar. So this is our Google Maps Playbook by Secure Line Marketing. Let's go ahead and get into it. Great. So when we're breaking it down, I touched on a little of this already, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to maximize your revenue. That means we need to take responsibility for the entire funnel. How many people are actually finding you, either through paid channels or free channels? Once they do find you, are they converting? When they get a glimpse of your brand and they land on your websites, are they converting into somebody who's willing to give their information to you? So are you leaving a net positive impression? This is going to include your reviews. It's going to include your website. Is your website built to convert? And it's going to include automations. Are you the people who came and were interested? Are you able to poke them again? Because they are a warm audience. They might not just have been ready to convert at the time. So when they are ready to convert, or do you have a way to go back and get them? And then, of course, at the end, we want to be tracking some of our key stats, which is how much money have we spent in total on marketing and what is our average cost per lead? Is that number continuing to trend downwards, or did something happen and it's trending up? And if it did, what did we change? From that is going to give you your return on investment. It's going to give you a return on investment. If I spend X amount of dollars, how many dollars am I going to generate? Or I've invested X amount of dollars, more like it. I've invested so much money. What am I getting at? What am I getting for that? You want to pay for results. You don't want to just pay for hustle or good intentions. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about. Okay. So for the next, 60 minutes or so, if this is something that's interesting to you, um, turn off your cell phone. I know your phone's going to ring. If you've got a moderately successful business, at least 20 times over the next 60 minutes, turn off Facebook, try not to scroll, and we'll go try to go through this and make it a really good use of your time. Okay. So what we're going to be covering today is some of the updates with Google Maps. We're going to cover the 5 biggest issues that could be hurting your fence company and why your Maps listing is not ranking. The things that we do in our own agency to help your Google Maps profile start to rank and start to move up the rankings. And we're going to talk about some of the best tools and systems that you can use, you can implement yourself without hiring anybody to do a lot of the heavy lifting, do a lot of the work for you. To start, who am I? My name's Alec Newmeyer. I'm one of the co-founders of Secure Line Marketing. I've been in the digital marketing space for about 5 years, been working with fence contractors for since 2023, so about a year. In that time, we've done good work. We specialize in local search. So we're able to, when someone signs up with us, what they're paying for is they're paying for their graphs to go up and to the right. We want them to rank for more keywords. We want them to rank for more high intent traffic. We want their Google Search Console and all their metrics to go up. And then we also, people are paying us to have their Google Maps profiles change. So these are these are called heat maps. These are some examples of saying, for this customer in front of their office door, they're ranked number one. If you go 2.5 miles down the road, they're ranked number one. 2.5 miles down the road, they're ranked number two. As long as they're in the top three, they're going to be making money. So this is a customer that we had, and in not too long of a time, we were able to take them from obscurity, a brand new site in a pretty huge market, and turn it into where they've got half the city in the top three. So that equates to a lot of revenue. On the personal side, I've got 4 kids. I've got those two and 2 new 6-month-old twin girls. So I'm overwhelmed and sleep deprived on a personal level. On a professional level, that pushes me to create systems and automations that make sense, which is the same boat as most defense and deck contractors. We're working really long hours. We're doing our best for our customers. We'd love to put systems in place. Luckily, I've got a mind for that. And so that's what I've invested in. That's what I've studied. And that's what I'm applying. And I'm here to help you apply to your own business. On the other side, I've got my partner, Ashton. Ashton Sandard is my technical ninja by night and day. Anything super complicated, anything automation, anything tracking AI, he's the guy you want to have on your side figuring that stuff out. Um, you may meet him on this webinar, you may meet him at a different time, but this is what we do. We partnered up specifically to accomplish large revenue gains for our customers, and that's what we're dedicated to doing.
And I'm hiding here in
So,
the back end, just making sure the video is recording, making sure everything's working well.
okay, as he does. So, do Google Maps matter? That's the first question. There's a million places you can put your attention as a business owner, and there's a million places, little million marketing channels that you can put your attention on. So, why would we spend time on Google Maps? What's so important about it? Okay. So, the big thing, the big reason, whoa, the big reason that it's so important is because there's a study by an SEO and digital marketing publication. They also have a tool called Moz. They have they estimate that the organic results, meaning the ones that pop up in the top three here, this is a paid channel, this is a paid channel, this is Google Maps that we're going to be talking about today. The ones that appear in here organically receive 71.33% of clicks. That's an enormous percentage. What it means is that when someone's on their cell phone or someone's on their computer and they type in something like fence company, fence install, I need a new wood fence, I need whatever they're typing in, the large majority of users, the way their behavior is they're going down to the maps, they're scanning these reviews and saying, okay, 4.7 average reviews over 300 reviews. Okay, they're probably good, and they have discount in the name, which doesn't hurt. Purple Fence, 102 5-star reviews. They're looking at this review and deciding, okay, who's easiest for me to just call and get a quote? I'm sure they're going to do a good job. Okay, so you don't get a lot of real estate on here to make a good impression and to convert it into a lead. In fact, if I were to do the same search that you're seeing on my screen on a phone, what you're going to see is that this website button converts to a phone button similar to this. And that's the way most people interact today. There's a huge amount of people have increased their amount of time on their cell phones. And so it's become more important to not only rank in this top three, but you have to have a very high rating as well. Like that's become more important, which we'll talk about later. But what we're going to talk about is how do I become one of these top three? If I don't have that track record, if I don't have hundreds of reviews coming in, what are some things that I can do to move the needle? Luckily, Google Maps, although it is a bit of a feast or famine situation, you have an advantage, a proximity advantage. So where you set up your business is going to give you an advantage in that area, and you can still generate a good ROI from Google Maps because of that. So, so that's where we're gonna. So it's very important to answer the question in the simplest way possible. That's hilarious. It's not going. Oh, there we go. To answer it in the simplest way possible, yes, Google Maps drives calls. You cannot rely on pay per click by itself. So even if you were investing in Google Ads, which is a fight for this spot or possibly this spot, or you're investing in what people call SEO, search engine optimization, you're fighting for this spot down here, or you're investing in the Google guaranteed, the local service ads, which are up here. All of those channels, though important and should show an ROI, the most important one not to reject or ignore is your Google Maps ranking. 71% is huge. It's a huge minority, huge majority. So there's been some changes. Google's always tinkering and rolling out changes, makes it thrilling to work with them. But the Google Maps listings used to be longer. They've shrunk it to three. We've noticed that Google is now serving paid ads in the map results. So we saw that in our other example, that this spot here, Allied, is actually a sponsored listing. If you can see there, the top one is sponsored. So that's happening more and more often in the fencing industry and for fencing related terms. The local service ads are now available almost across the country. So that program should be an important part of your strategy. Um, and home services in general are getting a lot of attention from Google. Google sees an opportunity for numerous different variations and customizations similar to what they were doing for restaurants and takeout. You know how in Google Maps you can click a button to go right to the menu. They're looking for opportunities and implementing different opportunities to get more involved in the home service business on Google. So there's going to be more changes coming, especially since AI came out. We're already seeing changes when it comes to how to verify your listing and get on there. Google's getting tighter and tighter across multiple channels about who they allow onto their platform. So it's only going to get harder. Um, it's only going to get harder and more difficult. So here's some of the examples. We used to see a lot more maps listings that got reduced to the three that we're seeing today. The local service ads used to didn't exist up here, and now it exists like we've seen. Google Ads is sort of getting a lot less real estate than it used to. These were all Google Ads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're seeing one. So there's the landscape for how to strategize on Google is changing, and you could end up wasting your money if you're not careful. Okay. An ideal strategy, in my opinion, is to target the maps plus the local service ads. This is a great program we can talk about later, but it's essentially a round robin system. If you can get your name to appear on the round robin here and get your listing to appear in the top three here, and ideally your SEO, that's going to be a pretty compelling case for anyone looking for that keyword. So assembling all that for a single business is going to be pretty powerful because it tells the user, oh, whoa, like I'm seeing their name three times. I'm definitely going to get a bid from them. And then if they do want a second bid, they'll choose from somebody else. But I'd much rather have my customer be the one that, oh, we're definitely getting their bid, and then we'll get someone else and compare those two. It gives you a much higher chance of winning. Okay. If you haven't done local service ads and you don't see the benefit of it, or you know for sure you want to try it and you haven't been, there's the link there. Go ahead and sign up for it. It's a simple process. You'll need some of your business documents, and we can cover that in another webinar, but it's a process you certainly should experiment with. Okay. And like I was saying, the most powerful strategy is owning listings across the board. So lining those up for your business, getting yourself on local service ads at the top, getting yourselves in the maps, getting yourselves in paid, getting yourselves in this case, they are ranking actually a third party listing from Yelp in the top results when someone looks up their city and their service. So, this is just more evidence that I found that you know, Google's trying to clean up their search results. What happened is last year, ChatGPT came out and Google started seeing a giant influx of just trash content and spam listings. The spam listings have been getting bad since 2015. Google has said that they're trying to continually clean up the listings. They're kind of doing a shoot first, ask questions later situation. So if you're having any trouble, reach out to us and we can help you maneuver that. But Google claims to have reduced the listings, the spam listings by 70%. In this blog, in Google's blog called The Keyword, it says, oh my gosh, stop doing that. It says that they've blocked or removed 55 million reviews and nearly 3 million fake business profiles, which from my personal experience, I don't think that's 70%, but but they are certainly making it tougher for fake listings, spam listings to take over and to stay. And they're actively hunting people who are using, more black hat bad guy strategies to rank their business, which I think benefits all the white hat cowboys out there and cowgirls. So if you got impacted by this, if Google wiped your profile, it could have been an accident. It's a case by case basis, but in general, there's a couple things that you could do that you may have done that could have hurt your listing. Number one, you need a legitimate office in the city you're trying to rank in. It could be a virtual office, but it needs to be based at a real location. Some virtual offices work better than others, but you should have if you're gonna have multiple maps listings, you need to have an actual location. Don't try to spoof it. Just have an actual location. A single job should pay for what you're paying for that location. It's not something you want to skimp on if you're planning to rely on that Google Maps profile as a lead source. You don't want it to disappear overnight. So just make it legitimate. The second one is, did you try to spam Google with fake locations? There was a strategy for a while that gained some popularity where people were creating multiple listings, even though they only had one true office, in order to take advantage of the proximity filter that Google had. And that worked for a while. The trouble is, once Google catches on, it wipes out all listings, including your first original one, in one go in a broad stroke. Then you get kind of spammed, and then you've got to go through those initials. You get spam flagged, and you have to go through this initial building phase again, where you're rebuilding trust with Google and reestablishing your trust. Or you can try their customer service department, which I promise you will love. Yeah, they are just an absolute delight to work with. I'm being sarcastic. You'll never talk to a live person unless your anger gets to the point where you're about ready to, fly out to San Francisco and burn the building down. It's very difficult to talk to anyone. They have automations on automations on automations, and I wouldn't recommend it. But you can certainly try. They probably encourage it because they don't notice. The other thing you probably did that could be hurting your maps, your ranking on maps, is inconsistent name, address, and phone number. And a lot of us will call that NAP for short, name, address, phone number, because one of the first strategies we do in local SEO is we try to get your name, address, and phone number on all the relevant business listings, directories, blogs, social media profiles, and it should match exactly the same. So, give you an example. If your address is 123 Main Street and you type in ST for street on 10 profiles, and on other 10 profiles, you're typing out street, For a while that would hurt your listings. Now, Google's gotten smarter. They are updating, and I've heard but not tested that having them that ST and street are now being seen as synonymous, the same, and they're not as gnarly as they used to be on that. But best practice is exact same characters on all the directories. When it says address, you type it in exactly character for character, copy paste, copy paste over and over again for each listing. The more inaccuracies you have on your from site to site, the more you're sending mixed signals to Google. And the way to rank is to send one crystal clear signal that's just boosted, boosted, boosted to signal. And every time to Google, every time you have a listing that doesn't line up perfectly, you are taking away some of the power of that message. The other thing that Google might give you a no-no for is if you try to cram your city name or a category or keyword into your name. So this is when you see, um, you know, Tampa Fence Company, um, Tampa, Florida Fence Installation as the business name. Google doesn't love that tactic. It does, and it can have benefits for you from an SEO perspective. You are slightly vulnerable to a manual review, meaning someone could see that and just cut it. We don't recommend doing that. We recommend having a true brand and just using your brand in your listing, because that could make you subject to a manual review, and it's not ideal. And then the last one that we see really commonly is reviews. I know the day's busy, and I know you deliver a great product, you hope they leave reviews, and you kind of leave it to it and you get what you get. That seems to be the attitude for a lot of fence contractors that I meet, especially those who've been doing it before Google was um, so large. Reviews have gained even more importance. They took a large step in importance in the last 5 years, an even bigger step when COVID hit because people started using online directories more and more, and then Google's had their attention on reviews. You need enough reviews to compete with whoever's dominating your market. If you can't do that, there's still plenty of ways to show Google that you are a clean, good, helpful fence company, that you deliver good work. Um, but if you don't have at least 10 reviews on your Google Maps profile, Google's probably not even acknowledging you as a real company. So if you can't scrape together 10 reviews for work that you've done, maybe you're a brand new business, then I'll give you a tip. One, it is explicitly illegal to get fake reviews. So do not have your friends and family say that they hired you when they didn't. That's against the law. But you can do character reviews. If you are a guy or a girl, you're starting your fence business and you need those 10 reviews, you can have people speak to your character and put those on. A 5-star review is not necessarily only for completing a project. It doesn't say that. It's a review on the business or the business owner and their experience with it. So you can get customers to leave you reviews on character. That would be your friends and family. You can get customers to leave you reviews for a great phone call. Maybe you just helped someone out and gave them advice on what type of fence that they should have installed at their house, or how to prepare their fence for a winter storm, or you did an estimate and the estimate turned into a bit of a consultation and they kind of decided to do it themselves. Those people are great people to give you reviews. You just gave them free advice. You gave them free service. You shared your experience with them and charged them zero. It is not too much for you to just ask, hey, we're a small business. I hope the fence goes really well. We're a small business. One thing that you could do to help us out is if you could leave a review and just talk about the exchange. I've really got to focus on getting reviews. There's this guy named Alec. He's breathing down my neck about getting reviews. And if you did that, it would get him off my neck for a couple days. Would you mind? Would you mind doing that for me? And that's a great way. That's a great way to just get the reviews streaming, get the blood flowing, get used to asking for it, because doing that on a consistent basis makes a really powerful case to the search engines that you are someone they should feel comfortable recommending to the people you searching for a new fence. Okay. Um, So that could certainly be hurting you. I've included here some of the fence keywords. You want your listing to appear for certain concepts and ideas. Well, you need to be including some of the fencing keywords in the most organic way possible on your website and your Google Maps profile. So I've included a list here. If you'd like this list, you can take a screenshot, or if you'd like a more robust one, you can feel free to go on our website, securelinemarketing.com, and request it. And we'll send over a fencing keyword list for you that you can incorporate on your site to help yourself rank more. Obviously, curate some of these. If you don't offer electric fence or electric gate repair, I wouldn't use that keyword. If you don't like fence repair in general, like I know many don't, then I wouldn't put that word on my site either. But many of these others can be super helpful and are something that people, when you're having to write for yourself, it can be hard. And including some of these keywords will help make sure it's on message to the people you want to come find you. Okay. So those are some of the mistakes. If you've tried everything I've said, or you just feel like you'd like somebody with more experience to take a look at your marketing efforts and just tell you, how are we doing? What could be the problem? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Go ahead, go to Secure Line Marketing. There's a contact form. You can fill out your information. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking for. And I personally will go on your site and record a 5 to 10 minute video just walking through, giving you an impression. Once you've seen that video, if you want to meet with us and talk about things in more detail, ask any questions, I'd be happy to set up a time with you. If you if you don't want to do that and everything's flawless and you love where you're at, don't you don't need to share your information for that particular report. What you can do is you can share that information and ask about something else that maybe we can help with related to your marketing, maybe opening a new marketing channel, or getting leads another way. Okay, we're going to switch topics now. We're going to talk about getting into that three pack. The three pack is where money's made. Like we said, 77% of all search traffic are clicking or interacting with the top three Google Maps profiles. So becoming one of those three is going to be a significant increase in the number of calls if we can break that three pack and then grow in what areas you appear in that three pack. So let's talk about things that you can easily do as a business owner. We're going to talk about some of these. Love it. On-page SEO. We're going to talk about citations and what they are and how to get them. We're going to talk about collecting reviews and some easy strategies to get reviews. And we're going to talk about your business profile itself and how to optimize it. Okay. So your business profile, Google has all these listings from all these fence companies in your area, and Google's trying to figure out who is going to be the most trustworthy, who is going to represent Google looks good when you do a good job. Google looks bad if Google recommends a fence company that's not legitimate. So they're trying to accumulate trust signals to decide who deserves to be in the top three. You do need to show, in order to get the top three, you need to be better than whoever's number three. If you want to be at the top, you need to have more signals than whoever is number one. Um, Whoever is the most trustworthy at that time is going to get the rankings. There are things you can do that are good, create good trust signals, and there are things that you can do that would create spam signals that would make you drop down the rankings. Okay. The big things Google wants to know is the people that click on your listing, are they having a positive experience? Does the content that they can find online demonstrate to Google that you're an expert in your field and you know what you're talking about? And they're looking for other signals. They're looking for all kinds of signals that show your legitimacy. So which ones can we own as a business owner? Or which ones would a marketing company have their eye on? One of them is the brand authority. So this would be content on your homepage, the content on your service pages. Do you have a privacy policy and terms and conditions? Do you have a blog where you talk about and explain fencing concepts and help people like create what people are looking for? Um, the verification method is the next one. This one's very interesting because you can have your Google Maps profile get suspended, and then you have to reprove to Google that you're legitimate, um, which is so funny. Um, because what I found is that once you've reproved your legitimacy, you get a leg up over the folks who haven't reproved that they are legitimate. Once Google knows for certain you're legitimate, you kind of get a leg up in the search engine. So When you originally apply for Google Maps listings, there's a lot of different ways that they may try to verify you. The most common is video verification. And what this is Google's trying to say, okay, you want a new listing for a fence company. I need you to show me a couple things to show me that you are who you say you are and you're located where you say you're located. So in a short video, you're going to need to show the intersection or the address of your house. You're going to need to show tools of the trade. You might need to show a logo or a decal on your work vehicle. You may need to show bills from the company to the house or office to where you're at and the back end of the website. There's a lot of things you can show. They need to show in about 45 seconds. And then if the portal works, that'll get uploaded. That'll get uploaded and you can get verified. Sometimes you need to get double verified. Double verified means you could do a video verification and then a phone call, or a video verification and then receive a postcard. Those are all ways that those are all ways that Google's trying to verify. The live video recording can be tougher to pass, but once you're passed, you're in great shape. That's where you get on with a live Google rep and you're showing your phone and you're showing them things. It takes a while to get there, or if you've broken the system, you've just failed so many times with the video, because that they do that by AI, and the AI might not like you for some reason. Then you may need to talk to a Google rep live and get it approved. Postcard, email, and phone number are not as common anymore, but they do still exist. You put in your information, you receive a postcard with a code, and you enter it, and you're verified. Or you receive an email and you click it and you're verified, or a phone call sounds like exactly what it is. So, not all verification methods are created equal. The harder ones tend to give you a little more trust and authority. So if it's becoming a pain in the butt, you could end up being net ahead of if it was difficult in the beginning. Now we're circling back to reviews. The more reviews you have, the more Google's going to trust you. If you get, that's pretty simple and that makes sense. Having more reviews than everyone else does not mean you're going to be the top ranking, but it certainly doesn't mean you won't be. It's one piece of the puzzle. Review velocity is our next conversation. What this is talking about is this is talking about um, the total. Oh, great. Hold on, people. The review velocity is how fast are you getting reviews? So Google expects each industry is going to expect a certain Google is going to expect a certain review velocity based on what everyone else in the industry is doing. So if you have a retail store, or if you have a car wash, or something where the whole process from a customer walking in the door to leaving is 20 minutes, it is within the thought of the search engine that, okay, they could hypothetically get 5 reviews a day, and that would make sense. Totally makes sense. Car wash, they serve 200 cars a day, they get 5 reviews. Fine. Home service companies, a lot of them, especially fence contractors, somebody calls, there's an estimate, and then we choose the start date, and then we plan the install and we complete the install, which can be in between, let's say, 1 and 3 days. So if you have 3 crews, you may be, and they're working full time, and you're a medium-sized shop, you could be finishing anywhere from 4 to 7 installs a week if they're moderately sized. This is a hypothetical. Of those 7, let's say Google would expect 1 or 2 reviews. What I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to collect reviews and you call all your friends to get character reviews and you get 10 in a day, that's going to look awful suspicious and do a lot less for you as a business than if you got 2 reviews per week for 5 weeks in a row. Velocity, a velocity that matches the industry, is going to have a bigger impact than just a giant dump of reviews at one time. So before you go to your family reunion and get everyone to leave a review within 2 minutes, think through this. That is not behavior that makes sense for our industry. It doesn't make sense at all. Not to say you can't have a time where the number of reviews spikes, but if you're getting 15 reviews in a night, I would think that Google's not even going to show a chunk of them because it won't believe them. I hope that's helpful. Okay, cool. So we talked about the recently suspended, actually a good thing. This back-end engagements we're going to touch again on soon, and then a completed profile we're going to go over in detail. But having those things, routinely using Google's own tool, filling out the profile fully, all that is going to have, it's going to build trust signals to Google. And it's something you should have your attention on. Now we're going to talk about, now we're going to talk about local link strategies. Um, Hilarious. So this one has to do with your, this one has to do with your, this one's a little out of order, um,
Do
but
you want me to
totally
move it
fine.
down?
You know, you can handle it in post.
Okay.
So local link strategies, since we've talked about your on-page optimization and making your website work well for search engines as well as for customers, we're going to talk about building your brand authority off page. So not necessarily reviews, not necessarily optimizing your profile, but how do we show Google that we have brand authority outside of our Google Maps profile? One of the ways, there's a lot of ways to do it. Essentially, a link, what a local link is we want links from businesses or organizations in your local market to link back to your website. If we can create a lot of those, it shows Google that your tie to the area is very strong. And if you can establish a strong tie to your neighborhood or city, plus a strong tie to your industry, then Google's going to say this business is a perfect match for whoever's typing in fence company plus city. Okay. So we're just going to throw some ideas out there. You don't have to do all of them, but I do recommend thinking about some of them. You probably are well positioned to do some of these. The one obvious one is local partnerships and sponsorships. You know, if you've got kids, you can sponsor their soccer team, you can sponsor the baseball team, you can sponsor the cricket league, depending where you are. But you can be the sponsor, pick that up for a couple $100, get a bit of social media coverage that links back to your website, have them link to your website as well. I on those I always negotiate. I gotta have the digital link back to the site because it makes it more worth it for me than just having a t-shirt sponsorship. Like there's a couple local high schools that love to do fundraisers, and you want to have that link. You can host a community event, so base the event on a specific season and spread the word about it. You can create a local resource page. So if you're a fence contractor and you work with specific GCs or you work with a certain somebody who you subcontract out like automatic gate installations to, you can put them on your website on a page. That'll establish more of a like a relationship between you and the and other businesses in the community. This one's pretty clever. I don't see enough people doing it. You sponsor a scholarship. So you reach out to schools and districts and you offer scholarships to students that apply. The reason you do this, it could be hundreds or a couple $1,000s, whatever you want to do. But students, first of all, it's a great thing to do. It's helpful, and a lot of students need help continuing their education. The from a marketing perspective, what's nice about it is that you can issue press releases to the local paper to get the word out about the scholarship, and those local papers may link back to you as the sponsor. A lot of these schools and school districts, when they put it on a page, it goes, they'll put it on a page on their site and send that out. And it'll be on multiple sites. It'll be on the site for the district plus the site for each school. And that builds you a lot of it. That can build you a lot of authority very fast. Um, digital authority. So the other thing that's nice is, you know, if you are struggling with labor, sometimes these scholarships, you know, you have access to, you know, maybe someone who needs a summer job when they're out of school, and maybe that's your busy season. So there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think it's a great way to give back as well. Um, you can also you can also write content for other folks who are keeping a blog on their website. You can write content and then just cite, you know, say who wrote the article at the bottom and have it link back to you. You can interview people. You know, if you're in Waco, there's pretty famous home remodeling people out there. And if you can get an interview with them, you get a good interview, you get the transcript, you send that along. That can also help build your authority because you're actively working on, you know, building your industry in the community. So they're great things to do. And Google looks for those things Google isn't offline, it's not off your computer. So they're trying to approximate what's happening in the real world on the internet. And these are some things you can do in the real world that Google will be able to see. And it'll leave a breadcrumb trail that Google's algorithm really likes and rewards. Okay, let's talk about some things you can do. I swear you can do this. The first is you need to set up your Google business profile. You absolutely need to. And you need to fill it out properly. So, what I mean by properly is get your company name in there. Get your company name in there. Try not to keyword stuff. Add your website. It's a very important link to put in there. Put your phone number in there. Do not use an 800 number. It doesn't look local. Customers don't like it. They think you're much bigger than you are most of the time. Try to use a local phone number and a local address. And then photos. Get photos up there. Some of them should be branded. Some of them should have your brand on them. Some of them don't have to. Pictures of your team, your equipment, before and afters of your job. People like photos. They convert and build trust a lot faster than written word does. If they see your face, it usually goes well. So get your face on there, get your staff on there. Um, it can be all kinds of things, but get those photos on there and then make sure you fill out your hours of operation and services offered. So the way to do that is you're going to go to Google and you should be logged into your Gmail account that's connected to your business and you're going to Google the words my business and it'll pull open this at the top of the search results. And so you're going to go when you first set up into edit profile and make sure that everything I just said has been applied. Then photos, this is where you're going to upload photos, your logos, your office, some jobs, all kinds of things. You really, especially in fencing, for a while, I've seen listings that rank purely because they have a couple hundred photos on there. Just keep the photos coming. Try not to do a giant dump, but you can be pretty liberal with getting those photos on there. Fill out your Google Maps profile completely. That means clicking on edit services, which is right here, and editing the services you actually offer. So if you do wood fences exclusively, or you do multiple types of wood fences, fill it out in the services section. Same with chain link, same with vinyl, same with iron, same with ornamental, same with privacy fences, same with commercial fences, gates, decks. Fill it out in the services section, give it a description, like put the words to the page. Try to use those keywords from earlier. Eventually, you're going to want to know, okay, I'm getting calls, but like I don't know where they're coming from. This performance tab is where you're going to see the calls coming in. You should see things if you're doing things right. The graph should go up. So click on performance. You're going to see all that from here. The Google Business Profile best practices. This is something that I would recommend maybe popping onto your calendar as a little reminder because in total, it shouldn't take you very long at all, but the impact can be great. So a couple things you should plan on is updating your photos and adding to them on a consistent basis. I hope you're taking photos as you go anyway. Maybe once every 2 weeks, throw a couple more photos on your Google Maps profile. Maybe every week you just want to have a little calendar reminder or a phone reminder to do that. There's something called Google Posts. Google Posts you get to right here, you add an update. Google Posts are just it's essentially the same as a social media post. I would just focus on the jobs that you're doing. Just say what you worked on last and where you worked on it and post that every so often. 90 days is fine. Every 2 weeks is better. Just talk about what you're doing and where, and it'll help. Um, Over time, with all these reviews, responding to reviews is a ranking opportunity. So try to respond to reviews in an organic and friendly way, like you already are, but maybe throw in some of the keywords that you're trying to rank for. We've got some on that keyword list you can happily pull, but getting those words on page is going to help. You want to, like I said, associate your brand with your city and the services you offer. And then if you get questions, I'd answer them. You can even originate questions yourself and answer those questions. I've seen that help because it's just another signal. and it's right here in the Q&A. People may ask you specific questions. You can also ask certain questions, like if you're getting the same 10 questions from customers repeatedly, post it on your Google Maps profile, and that will do nothing but help you. So I'd schedule this in, maybe make a weekly or biweekly reminder on your calendar and just have these 4 bullet points and just hammer them out. It should take you, if you have a smartphone, it should take you less than 10 minutes to do all of it, as long as you remember to actually do it. The second thing you can do is you can build citations. Citations are that name, address, and phone number thing we talked about earlier. You want to make sure that they are everywhere and they are accurate. So there's a couple ways to do that. There's audits that can do a scan on the internet for you. You can also just type your business name in quotations and then your business phone number in quotations and see what comes up. But you want to make sure that those all that information is accurate and it's showing the right thing, and that's going to help make the signal to Google clearer. Like I said, oh, like I said, these are all examples of citation opportunities. So feel free to take a picture and you can look at it and figure out which ones you need. They are not hard to do, just a little bit tedious because a lot of them have like, you know, you got to like confirm in the email and stuff. But getting your brand on these is going to be very helpful. There are aggregators. These are essentially big companies that bought the data rights to like Yellow Pages online. Like you can't just go to Yellow Pages and submit your business info. You've got to either sign up or submit it through these aggregators. So you can go to each of these websites and see if you can't submit, and they'll add you to all these directories. Sometimes almost instantly. Sometimes it takes a little while. A lot of them have, they may want you to talk to someone to make sure you're legitimate, ask you a couple questions about your business. But they are good places to start if you haven't ranked a Google Maps profile before. There are tools to make it easier for you. Here's some of the popular ones. Bright Local, White Spark, Advice Local, and Moz. Those are all ones where you can pay for a service to build your citations for you. Yeah, you can experiment with those and look at those. If you'd like us to check out your citations and do some of this check-in for you, you can message us, team@securelinemarketing.com. We will see your message and run a citation check on your behalf and send you a report afterwards. The best practice, claim them, fill them out, optimize those puppies. There are tools like Yext that they own an API to update all of them instantly. They've got quite a few, but they can be expensive as well. They do list you in many of the major, like some of the major aggregators. So that's one way you can do it. And then, of course, you can use one of those tools to get that work done for you if you're too busy. Here's, skip this part. Some of these are good citations for fence contractors. Some of them are not. We'll have a list for you. And then the third thing that you can absolutely do with no budget is collect reviews. Get reviews. They matter more now than they ever did before. So collect these reviews, get the 5-star reviews. As I've said, do not, especially if you're starting out, do not ask your friends to write fake stories about what a great fence builder you are and they built you 7 miles of fence overnight with their left hand only, blindfolded. Like, please don't do that. It's going to make a lot more sense if, make sure your reviews, the quality of the reviews are real. Like I said, character reviews do count as reviews. If you're offering free advice or helping out a neighbor, you can ask for a review and they can tell that story. It doesn't have to be a paid customer. I've even had customers get reviews from customers that like didn't hire them. There are many, many ways. Anyone who will say something positive can leave you a review and help you get that much closer to consistent and growing revenue. So let's talk about getting reviews. There's a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. The way that most people do it is they just try to remember and follow up, and then they start to feel a little awkward about how much they followed up, and so they stop following up. And that's not a great way to do it, especially when we can automate a lot of the process. There are tools, and what these tools do is you say a job is done, or you tie it to your invoicing software. And when you say a job is done or they paid, it'll start to it'll start to ask for a review over and over again. And it'll do it for you on a regular cadence that makes sense. It's persistently polite. And so tools like Bird Eye, like High Level, Review Trackers, Customer Lobby, they are there specifically designed. Their purpose on this planet is to collect reviews and make it easy for business owners to get more consistent reviews. A system like this is useful because it's asking for reviews while you're sleeping and working on something else. And what's nice about it is because the automation is tied to when a job is closed out most of the time, the reviews trickle in. And that goes back to our review velocity conversation. It'll give you a couple reviews a week. If you're busy working full time, a couple reviews a week without you thinking about it. And that has a big impact on your ability to rank. So use these tools, consider these tools and use these tools, or have someone in your office just follow up on them. There's also things you can do to empower your crews to get these reviews. One of them is to leave a printed review card. So it's a card with a QR code. The QR code allows them to leave a review on your profile. You can also teach them to teach your team. We can put those QR codes as a sticker and put it on some of the tools, and your team can just get a tool scanned. You can stick it on your work trucks. It's a very easy way to get reviews that way. Reviews should be a game, and it should be a game that your teams learn to play well. Planting the seed early and often. They're like, hey, we're really excited to be here. We're hoping if we do a great job, you can leave us a 5-star review, and then deliver a world-class experience so the 5-star review becomes obvious. The other thing you can do if you want to get more hands-on is call customers. Don't just send messages after the service is already done, and just walk them through leaving a review. It's a simple process. You can even text them a link and they can go ahead and click on it and leave you a review. But it's an important part of establishing your brand and getting recognized in your town. The quality and quantity of your reviews has never been more important because of some of the changes that Google's made thanks to AI. And now we stretch our back. And now we stretch our back. Because I've been talking for so long. And my back.
53 minutes. Holy cow.
That's a lot.
Woo! And robot stretch. Okay, and we're back to our regularly scheduled program. So let's talk about, we love reviews. So here's how they help. There's a lot of ways that they help. From an SEO perspective, they're going to help your rankings straight up. If you have enough reviews and you're getting them consistently enough, you will notice more phone calls. Your ranking will go up. And lately, it's been going up disproportionately than what it used to. So get reviews. Having a very high review rating increases the number of people who feel comfortable requesting a quote from you. When you need to have at least over a 4.0 rating. I'd prefer 4.7 or higher. You're going to get a lot more people comfortable clicking on you than if you have a 4.2 rating. If you don't know how to calculate, if you're at maybe something bad happened, you got a 4.1 rating, and you want to find out how many reviews it would take to get back to that 4.7 range, let us know. We can help you with the math. Really good reviews help you everywhere. You can grab them and repurpose them on your website, on your social media. If you do a press release, you can send the review and the content of that press release. They become marketing gold and great link opportunities, meaning people can use those to link back to you. It also obviously makes you appear more credible to new customers. So reviews have never been more important than they are now. Now we're going to talk about a very large loaded topic, and that is on-site optimization. What it says on your website absolutely makes the case or hurts the case for your Google Maps profile to rank. So there's many things you can do to your website. I've noticed all the time. I've talked to hundreds of fence contractors across the country at this point, and many of them just paid for a website $100, $200, and they're not SEO optimized at all. There are things you can do just by logging in and being comfortable to make it a little more SEO optimized. When I say that, what I mean is do organize your site in a way that it makes it easy for Google to know what you're trying to do. And that's only going to help your customers as well. Um, Customers get a clear message of what you do and be comfortable reaching out. So you want good content. There's a lot of good AI content writers. I like human content, or at least make it sound like you. So make good content talking about what you do and where you do it. User experience means make it easy throughout the page for somebody to say, okay, I've seen enough. Here's my information. Call me. Let's get this going. Because I'm sure you've noticed, a lot of people just want somebody they can trust more than they want to read all the content on your website. Um, One of the metrics, remember, Google's just a giant calculator. One of the metrics they're looking at to decide if you're legitimate and people like your site is how long do they stay on the page for? So we recommend putting a video of some kind in the first half of the page. So that way when people get there, they can quickly hit play. And then they're going to stay for at least, 45 seconds to a minute and a half on your page. And that's going to help your SEO. You want a page on your site for each service. So if you do wood, chain link, and vinyl, you want a page for wood, chain link, and vinyl, maybe privacy fence as well. Because each page should really be optimized ideally for 1 to 2 keywords. And it'd be hard to rank a single page for wood, vinyl, chain link, everything in one page. So you want to have a single page for each of the services. You also want to have something called location pages. That would be a page for each city that you serve, or even below that, a page for each of the key neighborhoods that you cover. All the content should be unique. Please don't duplicate it. Make sure that you're talking about the locations you cover. If there's any nuances to any events in those areas or specific intersections, you can throw those on the page. It's certainly not going to hurt. All the content, if Google sees duplicate content on your site, they'll just choose one and the rest of it they'll completely ignore. So get unique content on every page. Make sure if you are using any of these AI tools that the content is completely unique and not something that they're just, not just boilerplate language that they've used 1,000 more times on other sites. Now, when it comes to optimization, you're going to choose the main keyword that you want to rank for, and it should be on the title of your site. And also, the H1 is like the main header. So you want to have that in there. If this is way too much information, just reach out to us. But there are things that you can do to your site to make sure that it's telling Google what you do and where you do it. So having this stuff going through this list is going to be helpful. If you've noticed that you're missing a lot of these, make the changes. Give yourself 2 weeks for Google to see it, and we'll see if Google gives you more credit than before. Off-page SEO. This has to do with things not on your page. Like we talked about those local links earlier. We've talked about citations. Those are all off-page. Getting reviews, that's off-page. You want to have a plan in place to earn these types of links. So participate in your community, participate with your customers. The more you extrovert, and there's evidence and breadcrumbs online that you have extroverted and contributed, the more it's going to come back to you. So think of ways to contribute. It absolutely helps your community, and it absolutely is going to come back and help your business in this way and probably many others. You cannot just write about anything and post it. It just simply doesn't work anymore, especially since Chat GPT came out in October of 2023. People started just churning out blogs that weren't really well thought, weren't really like customized or specialized to the area or the brand. And Google, frankly, doesn't know what to do with all of it. It can't tell which one's better than another. So the better strategy would be to create content about those topics specific to your area, because then you only need to beat 3 or 4 other fence contractors. You don't need to beat any of the, I think there's 375,000 fence contractors in the US, and you don't need to compete with any of them if they're not in your town. So don't just churn out generic garbage and post it on your site, it's not going to be as effective as you'd like it to be. So, we're going to talk about a new way to generate authority, talking about signals and what this has to do with something that Google just came out with. And bear with me, I know we're getting technical here, but we're going to talk about something that Google came out with. It came out in some patents and in the leak that came out recently. It's called EAT. We're looking to establish Google wants to reward sites that show expertise, authority, and trust. So everything we create on the site should emphasize your expertise. So very structured data talking about topics that they expect to see. Authority. Are you being endorsed by powerful websites in your area or around you? And trust. Are you uh, are you showing Google signals that allows them to trust? Are you connecting to trusted sites? Are you avoiding spam? Are the facts that they're fact checking accurate? And so, uh, and then over here, I've got some, this is Google won't actually release what these are, but this is an estimate from a bunch of experts about what we can do to increase EAT and what impacts the actual rankings. And it's a lot of interesting stuff. I could probably spend over an hour on it, but I'm not going to do that. So there's things we can do to implement EAT on our websites that are going to be helpful and move the needle and just make sense, you know? Um, oh, so they just make they a lot of EAT signals will just make sense. Like I said, Google's just a giant calculator, and they're trying to just supply who is the best fit for whatever query it is. So there's basic things that we can do, and sort of breaks down, I guess, into like an SEO periodic table. But I'll give you some tricks. One obvious one is if Google wants to make sure you're an expert, that means they're going to verify who the owner of the business is. Your personal profiles, your LinkedIn profiles, your Facebook profiles, they likely show fences. They show fences, they show that you've been doing it for years. That should be linked to your site. The blogs that created on your site should have an author box that say, "Hey, this was written by me, and here's a link to some of my socials." That is going to connect your personal authority in the industry to the authority of your website. And that's something that's unique to you that no one else can copy. It can't be spam that AI couldn't fluff because you've likely had your profiles for years. So that's one thing you can do. There's other things you can add on for those that are technical. We can do things like, you know, schema, which is sort of like a map to your website. But for the average fence contractor who maybe doesn't love their computer, I'd pretty much focus on making sure your keywords are prevalent in the titles of your site and the meta descriptions. I'd make sure that the images I load are not only beautiful, but have alt text on them. And I'd make sure that my face and my own expertise was on my website in the About Me portion, on an author page, and tied to my blogs. Um, there can be a lot to this cookie, but to break it down to its composite parts is very simple, and I think you should focus on those things primarily as a fence contractor. Okay, cool. Here's what I was talking about. Website information about who is responsible for the main content. So they want to see who's the creator. So this is why you want to put your face on there. You want to show them that you're a real person and talk about some of your experience. Okay, cool. So some of the basic factors, the big ones to look at on how you get yourself ranked. One is going to be proximity. It's going to be much harder to rank for something across town with your Google Maps profile than it will be to rank in the neighborhood that you live. Try to attack the ones closest to you and then grow the authority. So that way your efforts are showing ROI quickly. The second one is relevancy. How relevant is whatever they're typing in to your business? You want to create content that attacks those specific keywords. You want to use the categories, um, fence company, in your content and section headings. You want to, a niche citation just means you want to be in citations related to the fence industry and you want to get reviews. Those will all make you relevant to the area and the brand. And the last is a prominence. So what's the authority? So what are your EAT signals? Are people talking about you? Are other businesses mentioning your brand? Are you getting a lot more reviews than other people? Are you are you doing press releases? Are you popping up in the news? Like, how prominent are you? If you paid for a giant billboard and people are talking about it, prominence is what's going to get your rankings to go up because of that billboard. That is a very expensive way to get that prominence, and there's way cheaper ways, but you want to be making more waves than not waves than your competition. That is prominence. So, proximity, the three things you can focus on: proximity, being close to the people searching, relevancy, and prominence. How well can you turn those three dials to get your phone to ring? So, here's some examples of some press releases we've done, creating a lot of these. You can syndicate press releases out to local papers like we've done here, Davie County Interior Journal and the Times News. For specific customers, you can create different or the same press releases and get them sent around, and that's something that you absolutely can do as a fence company to continue to move the needle for yourself. Get this stuff out there. So I'm going to show you the summary here. This is something that you can take a screenshot of, and it's something that maybe you can work through. All it's saying is what we said the whole time. Fill out your information with the keywords that you're trying to rank for. Publish content, show activity on your Google Maps profile, and create enough EAT signals that Google trusts you. Act like a big brand. Act bigger than you are, and you'll be rewarded to the size you're aspiring to. Okay, so take a screenshot. You can Google a lot of these. You can reach out to us for any clarification. I know for many, this is like the first time that you've heard any of these terms described before. So lean on us. We will offer some free help and get you going, showing some improvements in your marketing.
And your head's in the way of that last one if you want to move over.
My head's in the way.
There you go.
That way?
Other way. Perfect. All right, screenshot
Oh,
that.
screenshot. Snap, snap. Okay, cool. Back to it. This stuff works, stats go up, things improve, the phone rings, you go to Chipotle and you get guacamole for everyone you know, 275 a pop. Everyone's happy. So that's the Google Maps playbook in a nutshell. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful to you. And as always, if you need a review of your SEO, how your Google Maps is going, or you'd like me to run some of these heat maps for you, showing you which neighborhoods are generating calls or which ones you're closest to getting calls from. That way, you know to focus on those neighborhoods. Reach out to us and I can run those reports for you. If this all seems like too much and you just want someone to take it off your hands who you can trust, reach out to us. I've got different packages available for different, depending where your business is at and what you actually need. But we specialize in fence and deck contractors 100%. And that is what we do. Okay. So reach out to us. Got a contact form on our website. You can have a chat. You'll be talking with me, and we'll break down what exactly you should be focusing on, or we could focus on for you to move the needle in your business and increase the revenue for next year or this year. Dun, dun, dun. And if you'd like kind of a workbook to go through yourself to improve your own SEO on your website, you can go ahead and click the link below or go over to that domain and you can download our fence marketing checklist for free and start implementing it for your own website. Great. That's it from us. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it. And now it's time to go out there, crush some deals, build some fences, and have a heck of a day and a heck of a week. Thanks very much. Bye.